Stephanie, how's it going?
What's up? It's good to see you, Phil.
Likewise, likewise. So you are a functional nutrition practitioner. Easy for me to say.
It's all good. So
Yeah.
basically, I do not, medical disclaimer, I do
Mhm.
not prescribe medications.
Right.
I do not diagnose. I do not treat or cure.
Mhm.
However, I can prescribe nutrition,
Mhm.
dietary supplement protocols, and as a trainer, workout strategies and lifestyle strategies to heal at the root
Mhm.
level.
That's something that I think that we've really gotten away from is finding the root cause of a lot of these problems. And everybody is looking for a quick fix. Everyone's looking for the easy way. And listen, things kind of get in the way of being able to work out, family, whatever, children. But I think when you start to lean on drugs for a lot of different things, I think is where it starts to kind of go downhill a little bit. But we'll get to that in a minute. How did you get into this line of work? What made you decide to do that?
Well, definitely. So there where I am today is from a story of
Uh-huh.
hardship. So I grew up a very overweight child. I was a latchkey child. So I
Uh-huh.
ate all kinds of junk when I got home. No one really taught me about good eating. And then so I know what it's like to be overweight, teased, bullied. Then I went to college and I was getting sickly skinny. I just chalked it up to stress. I had
Okay.
diarrhea, all these unexplained things. Bottom
Uh-huh.
line, I went to the doctor and the gastroenterologist did a ton of horrible tests, only to say, Stephanie, you have a disease that we don't know what causes it. We don't know what cures it. What's a doctor who doesn't know how to cure something? Come on.
Uh-huh.
My
Uh-huh.
life flashed before my eyes. And he said it's Crohn's disease, an autoimmune disease where the body attacks the gut. One
Uh-huh.
of the first things I remember him saying is, you're probably going to be on this medication for the rest of your life. I'm not on
Uh-huh.
medication anymore, long time ago. But that's where I decided I was thinking, I'm not going to have kids. I will not be able to do this and do that. I thought my life was done at age 20. So bottom line, I'm the type, if you tell me you can't, watch me. I will.
Yeah.
And I
Uh-huh.
sought to cure myself. And in the medicine realm, we don't say you are cured. We call it remission,
Right.
but it's basically symptom free. So I've done bodybuilding, all these things. Nobody looks at me and says, she has autoimmune disease. No ways.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So what was obviously your first reaction was obviously horror and depression. I mean, that's and we can talk about bedside manner for a minute because like when I went to the cardiologist not that long ago, he's like he his delivery needed a lot of work. You know what I mean? It was, and I mean, I get it. He's not. He's I don't want to say too much, but it's like he's not from America, and not that means it's anything bad, but it's just some people are a little bit more blunt and don't know. And then it's like also I had somebody on the show. His name is Victor, and similar. He guys are in the similar sphere of vocations, and you know it's okay to question your doctor, right? And to say, hey, why can't we try this instead? You have to be an advocate for yourself, and then also say, hey, listen, I've read this about this particular drug. I don't feel like taking it because I think it's going to make me sick or whatever. But um, so what were some of the things that they gave? What were the options they gave you? What was the medication? If you don't
Yeah. So
mind.
basically, because it's autoimmune, meaning the body is inflamed and attacking
Uh-huh.
itself, the medication is suppress the inflammation.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
one of them was prednisone. I was dating my soon to be husband at the time, and my engagement pictures were all fat moon face. That's one of the
Uh-huh.
side effects of prednisone. I
Yeah.
was irritable, I was water retention, getting thick. And then there was a budesonide or pentasa.
Uh-huh.
12 of those pills a day. That's
Oh.
supposed to coat the gut and lower inflammation, but it was
Uh-huh.
suppressing rather. I mean, we get it. Some medications are absolutely needed. I look at medicine as acute injury, life or death
Yeah.
situations.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. Right.
Uh-huh.
But those are the drugs.
Yeah. And then so some people may not know this, but the lining of your intestines, they do basically regenerate almost I think it's like every 24 hours if I'm not mistaken.
I think I recall every 3 to 5 days, but
Yes. Yeah.
functional renewal 2 to 4 weeks.
Mhm. Mhm.
But
Yeah.
cells are replaced every 3 to 5 days. Yeah.
Yeah. How would Crohn's affect that? You know what I mean?
It's the medical part I still don't know.
Uh-huh.
Even to this day, I'm still being seen by my gastroenterologist,
Right.
and still they don't know how to cure it, so they don't really understand too. It's mysterious.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
not understood yet.
so basically, you would have, like you said, you'd have to just reduce the inflammation in your body. How did you go about doing that?
Yeah, so there's the drug way. But here's the reality, and this works with a lot of my clients as well on medications like metformin and so forth. You can take the drug, but if you're still feeding the body that's causing inflammation, the drug cannot work at its best. So I believe my three pillars of doctors, my three doctors are nutrition, fitness, and stress management.
Yes.
So if I'm eating good stuff, but I'm really stressed, Crohn's is going to flare up.
Uh-huh.
So it's taking care of the whole body, body, mind, spirit approach. But the way I found lowering inflammation was I put myself on this specific carbohydrate diet.
Uh-huh.
The author is Elaine Gottschall, and the whole premise was s- starve off the bad bacteria that is
Right.
growing with inflammation. You starve them by not feeding them, and you will have a renewed gut and symptom free. And I followed religiously for a year. And I believe even by the first 3 months, I started feeling better, no symptoms. By a year, I felt renewed. But here's
Uh-huh.
the crazy thing, I took my first Hershey's chocolate at that 1 year mark and I tasted it. It felt tasted like wax. It was so fake
Uh-huh.
because we don't know what we get used to eating junk if you're eating junk all the time.
Oh, correct. I've done the same thing. Like I used to be a big Reese cup eater. I went a couple years without having one and ate one and spit it out because it's disgusting. And it's like, and then, but the problem is it becomes a norm because I think we live in a society where it's very much, I need to treat myself all the time, and some people like that, whether they manage their stress poorly, like it's like smoking or drinking or eating bad food, uh, there needs to be a rewiring of how people feel about food. It's never easy, right? Because it's like, as the saying is, old habits die hard.
Right.
So to be able to, change is always painful. Change is not fun sometimes, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but
Comfort is safe. And
yeah.
half of the fat loss approach when I help clients, I have a master's degree in sports psychology. So it's a lot of
uh
mental skills training. It's really our relationship with food, and it has nothing to do with food when people get overweight. So here's one example, Phil. As a young girl, my mom would take me out to get an ice cream as a treat every time I did something good.
uh
So now in my waking life, when I feel I did something good, dang it, I deserve an ice cream.
uh
It's
Yeah.
com-
Yeah.
it's a good
100%.
reward.
hmm And it is. And here's the thing is any like a Reese cup or a Hershey's, whatever, occasionally is okay. Like, so I've said it before. I live by the philosophy all the time, but it's what's bad for the body, but good for the soul. And it's like, it's because sometimes, like one time I was having a mental health issue. I was just depressed and I was working out all the time. I was eating like chicken and rice, you know what I mean? With no, like, just as it was not fun. And I had stuff going on at work and whatever. And my girlfriend's like, "Hey, what's wrong?" I'm like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling life right now. I wasn't like suicidal or anything like that, but it was very much, I needed a break. So we ordered a pizza. You know what I mean? And if, I was like, this is great. Okay. And I got right back on it the next day. Obviously, I tweaked the diet to make it a little bit more fun and not just, um, such a chore to eat. Because listen, when people they want to eat good food, is it like if chocolate mousse tasted like was healthy, everybody it'd be fine. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, broccoli doesn't taste that great by itself. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so it.
So you know what? In functional nutrition, I
Yeah.
believe a lot of it has to do with also enjoying your food. There is an aspect to that where some people say, eat it even if it doesn't taste good.
Mm,
No, I believe we should fall in love with the foods because there's an approach in functional nutrition where we want to be present. We give love to the food. My
mhm,
dad was a cook, and so I felt the love when he made this good food,
mhm.
you know, and there is a level to comfort, and that is okay. But we
Yeah,
can still make it tasty, healthy food.
course. And unfortunately, in today's fast-paced life, things can pile and get in the way of people being healthy. I don't know if that's by design or not. I have my thoughts on conspiracy theories about that kind of stuff, but I mean, I do think that there's a level of government involvement and conspiracy with big pharma. I said it before. It was John D. Rockefeller and his medicine stuff. He was a petroleum tycoon. Guess what's in his medicine now? Petroleum. So it all kind of snowballs from greed, unfortunately. But
Well, let's take an example of that
Sure.
though.
Yeah.
Ultra processed foods today.
Okay.
There are chemicals in it that enhance the color to
Hmm.
make it more appealing with the eye. There are ingredients in it to make the food addictive.
Yeah, and I think that was my point. Is like, it's every our water. Like, just put a water filtration system on my house, and it's like reverse osmosis, and it's a whole house filter thing. And you feel different. The water tastes better. It doesn't have the chlorine in it and all that. Like, I switched my toothpaste. I have anti fluoride toothpaste and mouthwash now. We don't think about what we put in our bodies on a daily basis. We put convenience over health. Is what I'm trying to say.
I want to share something though, really quick. This is to empower people that even though we might be easily fed certain things, as we are the consumers, when we become aware of what's bad, the manufacturers respond and they will change. That's why when you go and look at labels, it says gluten free. Why?
Mhm.
Because people are realizing and yelling, we don't want gluten because it's affecting our gut. And I've been at stores. I went to Costco the other day, Phil, and they have Doritos brand hot Cheetos. Now it says with no artificial ingredients.
Right.
So when consumers are becoming aware, and I think people are waking up, the manufacturers will respond, and I believe we can demand better health, better food.
100%. Yeah, because I mean, if they don't give us what we want, we quit buying it.
Yeah.
And we have the power. We just have to realize we have the power. It's up to the consumer to institute change and to say, hey, listen, if you guys keep putting this, it's like remember, like Mountain Dew. What is it? The yellow number 5. You don't need that. Some of the ways to combat that whole thing is to like learn how to make your own bread. It's not hard to do. You can use einkorn flour. It's got everything in it you need. It doesn't have all the enrichment stuff in it for self stabilization. It's literally just the wheat. All the yummy parts that are good. We made some not that long ago, and it was literally, you feel good eating it. If somebody has celiacs, or maybe even Crohn's, for example, and they eat something like that, it could mess up their inflammatory process. Let's touch on that for a second, because I think stress causes inflammation, and
Mm,
then it just spreads along the body, right? So, what, like, do you give your clients some sort of technique to manage stress as well, or is it solely like a nutritional thing?
absolutely. So again, it's body, mind, spirit. My three pillars are nutrition, fitness, and stress management.
Hmm.
More people are inflamed because of the stress management side. For example, I'm coaching one client. She lives in Florida, a woman in her 60s. She is at a pain level 8 to 10.
Mm.
She started eating cleaner, healthier, with less junk. She wrote back this week. She says, Steph, I am a level 4 pain.
Wow.
And she feels so good. Now she's self motivated to feel good. It's no longer becoming a diet, but just a way of life. So, inflammation takes getting rid of the four white inflammatories, which is white sugar,
Hmm.
white flour, the white sodium, and the white rice. Things
Hmm.
that spike our blood sugar and drop it, that's inflammation.
Hmm. Yeah.
And when we eat dead stuff, it takes our energy. But when we eat real stuff with nutrients, the body just swallows it because it knows it and it loves
Hmm.
nutrition.
And before we started recording, I was telling you I just started intermittent fasting. And it's only been a day, but I can tell it's going to work because I feel better, and I don't have the bloat. Not that I eat crap anyways. We eat pretty healthy. We don't need to have 3 meals a day. You know what I mean? I think we can survive off of, two good sized meals and then call it a day, because you really shouldn't be eating past 4 o'clock anyways.
Mm,
Because of the way, as long as it takes for the body to process some of the food that we eat, takes longer, and you need that time and you need that energy to sleep appropriately. Because when you're asleep, that's when all the lights kick on and everything starts healing itself and regulating itself, is through sleep. And that's why, yet again, so de-stress, eat good living food and get plenty of sleep. But the other key to that whole thing is movement, right? Movement equals medicine. So we're going to talk about the GLP-1 craze here in a minute. We just said a minute ago that change is hard. And when you get into a sedentary lifestyle and you get into this point to where you're just, it all it takes is that one little nudge to stop doing stuff, and then you stop moving, and then the next thing you know, you gain 40 pounds and your knees hurt, your back hurts. But I think, where do you think that fear comes from? Like, when you get someone like, you battled your own problem with obesity.
mhm.
What was the breaking point for you? What made you say enough's enough is what?
Well, my health came from a very chronically weak and anemic and malnourished area where I was sickly skinny. However, when I started feeling better, we go to eating junk. So you'll find probably a lot of people with Crohn's disease, they eat junk because low fiber, it's easy to digest. And
Uh-huh.
also, as a society, I believe we're chronically inflamed and chronically stressed. So because we're working and overworking, we have a fixation. We have to fuel our body. So we'll eat anything. So we go to get caffeine and we go to get sugar because physiology says it's going to boost my energy. So we
Uh-huh.
get used to that. But people just have to have a light bulb to finally hit like, oh my gosh, you have this diagnosis,
Uh-huh.
or you're going to have a heart attack. That's usually till that's when people change.
Right.
But it's to the point where I just wasn't feeling good and I wasn't being a good mom where I could play with them. I was laying in bed
Uh-huh.
when I came home because I was so feeling junk again.
Uh-huh. At my heaviest, I was close to 330 pounds. And I'm a big guy. I'm 6'4", but 330 is pushing it for anybody. You know what I mean? And the problem is you don't realize it, because your body gets used to it, gets used to the weight, and gets used to feeling like crap. So you kind of forget what it's like to feel good. If you can get up to walk to the fucking fridge, you can get up and walk, go to the mailbox, you can go wherever. You can just start small. It doesn't need to be, you don't need to train for a marathon right away. Just get up and move a little bit and then do it slowly. I did my research on the fasting thing. The longest fast that I remember reading about was I forget his name, was a 389-day fast. The guy was 400 pounds. He ate nothing for almost a year and a half. Here's the thing: he went from like 400 to almost like 150 or something. I could be way off on that. I'm sure the internet will correct me. But and the only thing he had was like mineral water, black coffee, that kind of thing. Because it was before the electrolyte craze too. You know what I mean? Here's the kicker though: he lost the weight within like a year, and he didn't have any excess skin.
That's interesting.
It is very interesting,
Was
and
he
so he was walking, and yeah, but I think it was because instead of Ozempic or a Manjaro, it was more of a natural weight loss of the body, and he was doing it slowly, and the skin had time to tighten back up and go back to where it was supposed to. But I mean, so it can be done. It's just a matter of how you want to get it done, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am seeing with a lot of clients though, people get busy. And so what's happening is I want to share that our body runs on signals. So,
Mm-hmm.
thinking how our body is not broken, it's communicating. So the body runs on signals. For example, here's three big things. Our hormones signal fat storage or fat burning. So when people's hormones are off, they're gaining weight even if they're eating less. I have a lot of people eating more now and they're burning fat because it's in a good portion and good timing. Cortisol signals either stress or recovery, and insulin signals energy or storage. So when we
Uh-huh.
get those signals understood, we can be in the zone, but just people just don't know what to do. They're reading all the books, trying everything, yo-yoing, and they're making all the signals even worse.
Exactly. Well, and then you get the internet too with all the
Yeah.
misinformation. And like I was telling somebody else one time, I said, there was somebody on TikTok or whatever it was. He goes, "You don't drink your hydration, you eat it." What? And he's like eating a watermelon. There's another guy that said you shouldn't drink cold water. I'm like,
That's where
what?
rumors start. That's how
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, who would ever tell you that drinking cold water is bad for you? Like, what could it possibly do to you that's not good? You you have to kind of weed through the bullshit. I've said before, it comes from a place of fear. So, so let's talk about the GLP-1 craze for a minute, because I think that's what kind of brought you and I together, was to talk about this stuff. We're going to be critical, but I would like to be fair about it. But I think it's terrible to take them. I really do. Short term, it might be okay, but anything more than a month, or anything more than regulating your levels, I think you're probably pushing it. Not to pick on her because her dad just died, but take a look at Kelly Osbourne. Have you seen her recently?
yes.
Now I know some of that could be depression. I completely understand that, and I am not, listen, I'm an Ozzy Osbourne fan, but I understand that she was very close to her father. He was the pillar of their family, but her and her mother are on this stuff, and it's just, they look like they're about to die. There's no adipose tissue in their skin anymore. You're not doing yourself any good doing this kind of stuff. So what are your opinions on these things?
Absolutely. So there's pros and cons to GLPs, looking
Yeah.
at the functional, there's a lot of naturopaths who are prescribing them. There are a couple of people I have had recommended them. However, if we don't get to the root issue,
Mhm.
those things can't fix it. So if someone's going on and they're learning to eat healthy and work out, fantastic. But if they're taking something and not learning what they need to know naturally, then it's a crutch because GLPs don't fix the root address, which is gut dysfunction, inflammation, and hormonal imbalance. A
Uh-huh.
GLP won't do that. So GLPs, our body makes its own GLPs in the intestines, and we can do more to build our own GLPs than that medication. But most of us aren't doing it, which is typical strength training, good foundational nutrition. You can find out how to build your own. So these external GLP meds are external, synthetic. Well, it kind of shuts off your own body's ability to make its own GLPs. And now you're living off of this external source. Now I'm getting a whole bunch of clients to me lean with new problems. I'm
Uh-huh.
constipated. I'm so weak. Anything gets to the point where you're not eating healthy, you got to ask yourself, is this helping?
And you also got to think about some of the side effects of these things too. Like now, obviously you have some of the more common ones are like, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, that kind of thing. Those are the ones that are kind of commonplace. But then you have like gastroparesis. And if you're not familiar, the people listening aren't familiar with gastroparesis, that's where the stomach empties incredibly slow. And it can cause all kinds of stuff. And I mean, then you have there's issues like cholecystitis, which is inflammation of the gallbladder, and just metabolic, all this whiplash, the yo-yo and up and down, and it also, like you said, muscle loss, bone density issues, everything. So it's not literally just to sit there, inject yourself with it once a week, and then do nothing.
Right.
You have to go lift heavy stuff. Because listen, I don't know the statistics off the top of my head, but for women are far more prone to osteoporosis than men, right?
True. True.
And for those people that don't know what osteoporosis is, it's basically weakening of the bones. It makes it porous and it makes it to where they're easily broken. So it comes from pregnancy, it comes from a lot of different things. But also, women, I guess, when they are of birthing age, they have, or when they're pregnant, it's like the all the nutrients and everything go to the kid more so than the woman. You know what I mean? I think I could be wrong on that. So lifting weights will give you that, help with the bone density loss. And it all comes down to education, right? The information's out there, but they have that saying, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink, you
Yes.
know? Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people have been burned by false information, so they don't know what to trust, right? I want to share that the biggest drawback, what we found in research in GLP meds, is on average, 25 to 40% of your total weight that's lost when you're on this stuff is muscle. And muscle is our greatest gold to a strong metabolism. We
Uh-huh.
lose that muscle, we can be so skinny, but we can gain more fat. When we have more muscle, we will burn fat just sitting there.
Yeah,
And life is a sport. We gotta lift to live.
100%. I like you got to coin that phrase. So, and the other thing too is it's muscles help with not glycogen, but glucose regulation.
Yes.
The bigger the muscle, the more sugar it takes to function, right? So, and you don't have to go to the gym and get completely ripped, but you need to have a good body composition to where you're metabolizing your food properly. And listen, as someone who's probably a diabetic, I had a 7.5 A1C for a couple years. So let's call it what it is. It's diabetes. Although I'm asymptomatic with it, but I still, but anywho, um, the best way to do that besides drugs is lifting weight and just eating a proper diet. But I don't know if I'm spinning my tires on this or not. Sorry.
Well, no,
Yeah. Yeah. But,
but you're wanting to learn how to
mhm,
do it because it is a way of life, not because we
mhm,
have to do it, but
yeah.
that's an empowering approach too. Be motivated by feeling better. That's why I want to eat this way. That's why I want to move. I feel good.
Uh-huh.
Moving less as a society in
Mhm.
America.
Every job is basically in a building somewhere. You're underneath restaurant lights staring at a computer all day. If people were working from home, maybe they could have a better opportunity. But now that's ever since COVID stopped, that's not really going to be a thing anymore. But I've never worked in that environment, so I can't say. I've been in the medical field since I was 19 years old. If you're going to get up and you're going to and you're going to sit at a desk all day, you might want to take time out of your weekend or somewhere during the week to get some movement in, because you can get vascular issues, and it's like that. You might as well smoke. That's what I'm trying to say. If you're going to sit at that kind of job, does that make sense?
Absolutely. So here's all the problems I'm having people come in with
Uh-huh.
because of lack of physical activity,
Uh-huh.
because their core isn't worked and their upper body isn't strong. When we're 1 inch off of good posture, that's
Uh-huh.
instant strain on the joints. And so we have to correct people's necks. We have to correct the core, and we're not strengthening that. We're contributing to health issues.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
we need prevention.
Like, I think I may have said this before, but it's obviously a lack of education. I mean, like here, speaking of education, let's talk about doctors and their nutrition training.
Oh, it's
Um,
sad.
it's pretty abysmal, right? I think it's like less than 100 hours.
So
So,
I went through the medical school route as far as
uh-huh.
my husband went to medical school, the DO program. So I know the whole curriculum. What research has found actually is only 1% of or less of the whole 4 years is on nutrition education. It's not the focus, and health insurances they do not cover root cause healing. They only cover procedures, prescriptions, and diagnoses. That's it. That's just the
That's it.
system. So
Mhm.
1% or less is equal to almost 19 hours total.
That's really sad, though. And why do you think that is? I mean, do you think that it's, yet again, not to go down that rabbit hole, but I mean, do you think it's to sell more drugs, or do you think it's just, the way things are?
Well, I guess we can just, instead of just saying things, we can just ask the doctors who have come out of the medical realm and are starting to say the truth.
Yeah, that's true.
Nurses are coming out, medical doctors are coming out, just realizing these medications are killing people and we're putting them on. So here's a quote: if a doctor gives you a prescription without first asking about your nutrition and lifestyle, clearly you have a dealer and not a healer.
Ooh, that's good.
We've
Yeah.
we've got to get to the root, not suppress. But
Uh-huh.
again, talk to the body, understand what the body is saying. Why is it in pain? So we
Uh-huh.
can move better, not take the suppression with my back issues. Doctors want to just give muscle relaxants and pain
Uh-huh.
medications. That's a whole
Yeah.
other rabbit hole in America.
Uh-huh.
Right? So it's education, but why? Why? Because that's just what makes money.
Yeah, it's true. And you're never going to get rid of greed. I've said that 1,000 times on this show, and it's never going to go away. And there's going to have to be a cosmic shift in medicine for it to change. And
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to see it in our lifetime or not. But I mean, it's starting to kind of peak out a little bit, and like you said, people are starting to finally come forward and be like, this isn't right. And then when you have someone like, I don't care what his politics are, but like RFK Jr., who's actually trying, from at least public appearances, it looks like he's trying to help. He's very much a fighter for health. If you look at him, he's like 68 and he's jacked to no end. You know what
Good
I
for
mean? Yeah, it's a good example. So I mean, and if you ever look at, which is kind of funny, let's get a little comical here for a second. If you look at the other people around the world and you look at their health ambassadors or whatever, it's like, yeah,
it makes you
it's
wonder.
yeah, it makes you wonder, like, why would you put someone who is overly morbidly obese in charge of your health coalition? It makes no sense. You said you had some patients of yours that are coming off of like Ozempic and all that. So, what kind of advice do you give them when they're coming off this stuff?
Absolutely. So we do a lot of a mental coaching. First
Uh-huh.
off, helping them rebuild their relationship to eat enough. So one of my quotes to losing fat is, "We to lose fat, you can't eat less because you can only eat so little. The way to lose weight is to eat enough. Because if we tell people not to eat stuff, they look at what they wanna focus on what they can't eat. So I tell them,
Exactly.
"Look at all these things you can eat.
Uh-huh.
Let's build from there, and this is why you need the nutrients so that you can do this." See, it's a kind of a mind flip approach. Don't eat this to look at what you can, and this is what it can do.
Yeah.
So we work on teaching them why they have to eat enough and at the right times and why to have enough protein so that they can do it in an empowered state, not because, oh, it's a diet, I got to follow it. That won't sustain.
Right. It
We
won't.
have to do what's sustainable.
So let me ask you. So, like I just said a little bit ago, I'm 6'4". I'm 286 pounds right now. So for someone like me, what would be considered maintenance calories for someone my size?
Oh, so there is a calculator where you can go on
Hmm.
just to
Hmm.
get a starting baseline. It's
Yeah.
caloriecalculator.net. You put in
Yeah.
all your stats, age, height, gender, and what amount of physical activity you're doing. You press calculate, it gives you four numbers. The baseline number, round it,
Uh,
that's your maintenance number. The
uh,
key is we can never hit perfect calories, but what we can do is be consistent. So when
yeah.
you put in those numbers, you find the maintenance calories, you go just about 500 calories less,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and you just stay consistent. Today, you can ask ChatGPT, write me a plan that's about 1,500 calories, and it gives me all of this, and it
True.
fulfills all my nutrient needs, right? You got to
Uh-huh.
start with consistency. People get too lost on the perfect thing. You cannot be perfect. You got to be consistent.
And that's another thing too since you brought that up is when you eat healthier foods, you can eat more of them. You know,
Yes.
no, like the 1,600 calories of fruits and vegetables and lean protein is a lot more food than
Yes.
1,600 calories of McDonald's and all this other crap. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And it's
Yes.
actually, and then here's the other part, the other side of that coin is you'll feel better if you eat the fruits and vegetables and lean protein
Right.
versus the murder burger at friggin' McDonald's.
Well,
You
let's
know?
be real though, Phil. There are discouragements that people have, and here's one of
Uh-huh.
them:
Yeah.
healthy costs too much. I
Yeah.
don't have time to meal prep. Like, I've
Uh-huh.
got answers to all these rebuttals. We can actually do an experiment, and with the same $100, you can really get a good amount
Uh-huh.
of healthy food.
Yep.
I found some delicious gummy worms from Sprouts, okay?
Uh-huh.
And they're organic, and the colors are made from actual blackberries, all kinds of real colors. The sucker tastes delicious,
Uh-huh.
and I'm not meant to eat as much of it.
Yeah.
When it's junk calorie food and empty calories, the body will crave more because it's not giving us the nutrients.
It's not sustaining. It's just
Yeah.
literally empty calories. So
Yeah,
yeah.
so spend that
Yeah.
little bit of extra money on good stuff. You won't eat as
Uh-huh.
much.
Uh-huh.
And also meal prep. Okay, let's go to Costco. There's some pre-made chicken ready to eat. Like, there's
Uh-huh.
always a way. There's no excuse. People just have to be educated.
That too, and also, and I think once you break that barrier of figuring it out, and like yet again, I think it comes from a certain aspect of fear. Like they're afraid of, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to cook. I don't know how to do this. It's okay to fail, but
Mhm.
the only part of failing it's not okay is not getting back up.
Yes,
You know, you know what I
absolutely.
mean. Fail as many times as it takes, but just keep trying. It's like I used to be a smoker. It took me forever to quit. You
Mm,
know, because it felt good. Like working in the OR is when I worked at a level 1 trauma center, do you think that's a relaxing environment?
stress, cortisol.
Okay, exactly. So the first thing I did, I didn't smoke at work because I wasn't allowed to. And then as soon as I got in the car, I lit up. Is getting rid of all the crap from the day. You get so physically brutalized. Like, I was doing pelvic fractures and hip socket fractures and all this stuff at work. And it's heavy instrumentation. It's heavy work. So you're hurting, and you're standing up. Like, I did 12-hour shifts. I think my longest case that I did there was 8 hours standing straight. We had a 15-year-old kid one time, 6'8" and 340 pounds. A 15-year-old kid,
What
and
was
I
wrong?
had to hold it. So what now?
What was wrong with him? What was
He,
the deal?
he broke his femur somehow. So I had to hold his leg up. You know what I mean? Not easy to do. And so what I'm saying is when you get out of work, the last thing you want to do is go and work out because you're exhausted. So, but that's what. So time management, stress management. I think people are starting to realize how intertwined everything truly is. For example, gastric bypass patients. When we would do those, when I would help with those surgeries, it's you're snipping away the pleasure sensors from eating, right? Because it's the dopamine sensors in the stomach, and that's so it basically makes you not enjoy eating anymore. And depending upon the one you get, there's two types. You have a sleeve, then you have what's called a Roux Y. If I'm not mistaken, the Roux Y is reversible. The sleeve is not. So that, I mean, I couldn't imagine eating another meal and not enjoying it. Does that make sense? Because
Absolutely.
then it just becomes, I'm just doing this to stay alive. And it's, and listen, life is meant to be lived and life is meant to be enjoyed. And, but you have to look at it like, I'm not going to do this to hurt myself. I'm going to do this to enjoy life. So if I want to, if I want something sweet, I get some blueberries and I put a little raw honey on it.
There's the
This
hack.
is, yeah. It's just, you got to figure out, trick the brain into making it think, or, learn how to make your own sauces or whatever. There's multiple ways to get to the same avenue of being healthy. But the first step is just figuring out the information that's going to work best for you. And I think, and then what you're doing is helping people unlock that pathway. And I think it's noble work, and it's and because you've been through it, so you probably have a better understanding than most people.
I have empathy. I have
Yeah.
compassion. I have understanding.
Hmm.
And I want to go back to the fear again. We're coming back to a fear root, but
Yeah.
a lot of people, when they want to start my plan, which entails nutrition, there's a fear that they
Uh-huh.
instantly feel like they're not going to be able to eat much things. So I said, wait, on my plan, you don't have to binge right now because you think you're not going to have it. We'll be able to eat the things you love and I'll teach you how.
Right.
So again, the fear. And so when people start fearing a plan, I tell them instead be so excited because you're about to feel better. What's the
Uh-huh.
fear? You, so fear, people love to be, they feel comfortable in pain sometimes too.
Well, yeah, and, there was a quote a long time ago, or maybe not that long ago, I don't know. But it says, comfort is a place where dreams go to die. You know? So you give somebody good food and cheap entertainment, they're not moving.
It's safe.
There's all kinds of external factors in life, whether it's politics, the war that we're in right now, all this other stuff. And people are afraid to breathe. And then you add something like that on top of it, they're not going to care about their health. I think the bombs are going to drop.
Right. There's a
You know?
collective
Mm-hmm.
stress, a collective fear for sure.
Yeah.
Well, even priority as well. People will make anything happen. If they say they don't have enough time to work out because they're busy, people always figure out how to do something if they prioritize it. This might be a bad analogy, but if someone who is on the streets has a way to find $1,000 worth of drugs,
Yeah.
right? We want something bad enough, we'll always find a way. So we
Yeah.
have to want it bad enough to feel great again, not fear the plan, be excited about the plan.
Routine becomes habit, and then I guess habit and routine are the same thing, but you know what I'm saying. So it's like, I don't have time to go home and brown some ground beef and to add a little bit of whatever, but I'm just going to swing by McDonald's or Wendy's or what have you. And then, and then and the next thing you know, it's just that ball is now rolling and it's not going to stop until they make that change. I remember I went to, somebody asked me to go to McDonald's for them. I had just gotten diagnosed with pre-diabetes and I was on this kick of like, I'm not touching this nasty shit. I picked it up for him and I was smelling it on the way and I hadn't had it in about 2 years.
How'd it
And I
go?
caught it and I was like, this smells like a foot. I'm not,
Really?
yeah, like this is disgusting. And it's like, the chocolate with you, or like you mentioned earlier, it's like, you're not around it. So you go to smell it and you're like, ew, why would anybody do this to themselves? So I think that there has to be, a mind disruption of the food. Like you have to say, I gotta change this, and you have to not go back to it long enough to change how you think. Does that make, am I way off on that, or?
Yes, no, that is true. And
Mhm.
again, we just need the education because here's
Yeah.
where GLPs are becoming so massively hyped. It
Mhm.
turns off the brain where people are looking at donuts and they're just
Mhm.
like, I don't want it.
Right.
That's why it's a craze now because they just want that flip off, but they'd rather have something do it than they learn the newfound
Mhm.
habits. So back
Yeah.
to the client that I started training in just 1 week,
Oh
her
yeah.
pain went
Sorry.
down.
Yeah.
Just started her with 2 habits she could start. We don't want to do a quick overhaul on
Mhm.
her whole
Yeah.
life. Hey, what's 2 habits that you can sustain that's realistic and that we can keep doing? She just decided to commit to more movement and to eat more anti-inflammatory. Focus on what we can have. That's how she got the results. And from there, okay, what's a new habit when you're ready for a new one? That's sustainable.
Right. It's like working out in the gym. You have a long-term goal, and then you break that long-term goal into smaller attainable goals, right?
Absolutely.
And
Mhm.
then that way it all comes together. I mean, yeah, it's great to have a big picture, but you have to have a path to get to that big picture.
Yes.
And then learning how to not, looking at, like I said, looking at the grand scheme of things is great, but it's the small details that make up that grand scheme, right?
Yes.
So learning how to attack the small ones, like those two little changes that she implemented, and she went from an 8 to a 4. That's a huge change, you know. Yeah, and it's like, so small corrections become large ones as time progresses, you know.
Yes. And
So
that's how my 90-day program is built out to be. Phil,
uh-huh.
it's the first month, it's rebuild. Let's
Yeah,
just make some foundational changes. Month 2, because the metabolism is already better, it's reignite. And we focus on now accelerating in your results. Finally, month 3, it's reclaim and rebuild who you already are with self-mastery. That's
yeah,
attainable because gone are the days people can lose 5 or 10 pounds. Anybody can do that. The
uh-huh.
question is, can you stay that low in a year? Come back to me and tell me you've kept it off.
Right.
People want sustainably. And that's where we start is just a couple of habits. What can you do today that will make extraordinary difference? Because a boat, all it does is it moves 1 degree. It's in a different direction before you know it.
No. So I have 3 questions that I ask people that come on my show. The first one is, what are 2 core beliefs that make you Stephanie? No, it doesn't have to be two. It could be whatever. You know what I mean?
Hmm. 2 core beliefs that make me is your body is not broken.
Uh-huh.
That's a lot of my story. Your body
Yeah.
is not broken. Don't you didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
And our car reaches 100,000 miles. It's just because the spark plugs need new ones. The timing belt needs new ones. If you turn 40 and your hormones are out of whack, you didn't do anything wrong. They just need
Uh-huh.
a tune
Yeah.
up your body. So you're not broken. You just have to learn to communicate with your body.
100%. And yeah, go ahead.
And that's my main
That's it.
one.
Yeah.
Number
Okay.
2, number 2, presence.
Uh-huh.
Live in the present moment. People are in fear because of the past and the future. Present.
And that's actually hard to do, in this day and age. And it's, it's all social media and whatever, because we're worrying about what's going on in everybody else's life. The second question is, you're about to shove off the mortal coil, go to the next life. What do you choose to believe? What do you want to be remembered for?
Ooh, we're going deep now.
Yeah.
You know what I want to be remembered for? I want to change something in this world before I'm gone. If that's there's a nutritionist in with the doctor in every visit now.
Uh-huh.
We are actually changing. There's integrative medicine and integrative practitioners meeting in hospitals.
Yeah.
There is it's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening. But if we have a system where there is education on teaching people how to eat healthier, some kind of a system that I've created
Hmm.
or a part of that
Yeah.
will change the world. Oh, Stephanie reminded me because here, people can tell you a million things, but what people don't ever forget is how you made them feel.
Yeah.
So when
Exactly.
I'm with someone, they will probably forget what I taught them for the tips, but they
Uh-huh.
remember how I made them feel.
Right.
And that's what I want to lead with.
Yeah. And the third one is, what makes you happy?
See, I'm smiling. I'm thinking, what was I smiling about? What makes me happy right now? My family, my 2 children are my pride and joy. They're the reason that I'm here. I was a single mother for practically all their life since they were 3 years old, and now they're in their adult years, 21 and 18. My family makes me happy, and being pain-free, feeling good at any given time, I can say, "I feel good. I'm happy." And I
Yeah.
encourage everyone else to get there as well. You can look good, but feel like crap. I was judged on perfection in bodybuilding, but
Uh-huh.
that's not my goal to look good. I feel good. And that's relationships, that's living your passions, that's sunshine, that's good relationships, and just that's what it is, feeling good in your body, pain free.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. So if somebody wants to do your program, where can they find you?
Absolutely. So you can reach out to me at steffitness.com, STEF fitness, all one word. And you can take my free 5-minute root cause quiz. Let's figure out what your body needs most help with: metabolism, hormones, or gut health. Get in contact with me. We can do a discovery call. I do lab work, functional labs, to get to the root of why is your body imbalanced, and we learn how to fix it at the root level.
Awesome. Well, I want to say thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. Hopefully,
Thank
it
you for
helps some people. So, thanks for listening, everybody.